Live on Facebook right now. Of course, we've been live on YouTube for a little bit. Today, we're talking about inbound marketing and how that helps with the overall live streaming workflow that we have here.
Yes, we're going to open your guys' eyes with some behind-the-scenes info on exactly how we manage our contacts, database, and email strategy.
So this is StreamGeeks Live. So today we're joined with Morgan Jacobson. Thanks for joining us, Morgan.
Hey, guys.
Morgan comes to us from Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Yes, that kept tripping us up there for a minute.
Almost said Boston.
We're lucky to be joined by HubSpot today. For those of you unfamiliar, HubSpot is an inbound marketing platform. We are able to store and manage all of our contacts within HubSpot, create persona-based, strategized emails towards people of different interests, write blog posts, monitor, publish, schedule on social media, and so much more. And we're excited to share all of that information with you today.
Yeah, if you're new to inbound marketing, this is something that I was really new to about 5 years ago. And the whole strategy and thought process is really providing value and in return for leads for your sales team, and really a whole process where you're taking someone through the process of someone who's a complete stranger to starting to engage with your content. Maybe they're a live viewer of your live show, to becoming a lead and then a customer, and then of course not leaving them just there, but also delighting them. We have a quick presentation that we're going to go through today. Of course, this is a live show. Thomas Hendricks is saying he's been looking forward to this episode. It's going to be great for anyone who's live streaming and not thinking about the strategy, and honestly, any business who wants to make more money by really having happy customers in the end of the day.
Anybody that's stuck on Outlook or Google Sheets with their contacts, this is the step up beyond belief from that, something you really want to consider.
So let's get into our presentation and, of course, introduce our guest, the Principal Manager at HubSpot. So we're going to be talking about using live video to fuel this inbound marketing. Of course, we'll talk about what that is. But if you don't know the Stream Geeks, we are dedicated to bringing you, value and discovering the power of live streaming. But let's introduce Morgan on the next slide here. So Morgan,
look at that photo.
Look at that photo. Did you take that? Before the kids? Before your daughter?
This was before children. It's been a long time since I didn't have a beard. So
pre-facial hair. I gotta say, I like the facial hair.
Thank you, thank you. It's very in fashion these days.
So I don't know if you could just give us just a high-level overview of HubSpot and this inbound methodology that you guys have, or methodology that you guys have come up with.
Yeah, of course. So HubSpot is a software platform. We provide a lot of tools for a lot of different things. And as it relates to marketing, it's really about aligning the content you create with where people are at in the buying cycle. So if you go to the next slide, I believe we have the HubSpot methodology here. One more there. So this is a visual representation of how your customers kind of find you, kind of move through that sales cycle. Think about it like a traditional sales funnel that you've seen drawn out a million times, just kind of flopped on its side. So we have these strangers, people who have no idea who we are. For Stream Geeks, somebody interested in how to make more money with my website. I want to do some live video or something like that. We need to pull them in. The way people do research today is online. So I should add video to this, but you can see things like blogs, keywords for optimization, social media. Once they get to my website, how do we engage them in a more meaningful way without just shoving my products down your throat? We want to create helpful content like this that you can exchange for, say, an email address so you can follow up with those people later on. And then your sales team may want to give them a call, so CRM, email marketing, to move them through your sales funnel. And the workflows are kind of automated salespeople that can, based on how I've interacted with you, send you more interesting stuff that's aligned with what you're interested in. And then lastly, making your customers extremely happy by not treating them all the same way. Everybody's interacting with you in a different way. So let's make sure we're getting feedback from them, serving up the right stuff to have them engage with our products, and maybe even get them to buy the next thing that would help them in their day.
It's such a great way of looking at marketing. And I did business management in college, and this is going back 10 years ago. And none of this was taught to me.
Right.
In a 4-year bachelor degree, none of this online inbound marketing was really taught. So I'm really excited to bring this to, in a 1-hour episode here, what this really is and how powerful it is. We have some B-roll that I want to show really quickly, just to show you guys just a little bit of what we do. So we do these live giveaways, as many of you know. We're doing a live giveaway today, and managing the whole process of getting those leads to our salespeople. If we just keep this rolling, you'll see here that Tess goes from an email to targeted personas, not sending the same email to everyone in our database, but maybe treating people differently depending on who they are.
You're looking at the interface of HubSpot right now, a sneak peek at our dashboard where we're able to monitor certain aspects and create very specific, tailored emails to distribute. For example, the live show today. Many of you just received an email from me that was formulated on HubSpot in a very specific way.
So I have this same slide.
Oh yeah, let's switch over to the other side.
That Morgan was sharing with us. And now we have it. I like how it just kind of flipped over there, but we have to put Morgan inside of this that little droplet there. But same thing, but now we're talking about it with a live streaming focus, because HubSpot's been around for a long time, actually probably longer than a lot of live streaming technologies like Facebook Live and YouTube Live. So I decided to basically take this and think about it from a live streaming perspective. And in the attract stage here, Facebook Live, I mean, is there really much that's better than Facebook Live?
No, and I have to say, HubSpot as a platform is very closely in line with social media strategy and really trying to develop a relationship tailored to what that end user is looking for, because people aren't looking for just blasted advertisements in their face. They want something that's more personal, that feels specific to them. And social media, Facebook live streaming specifically, allows you to do that in a similar way that some of the features in HubSpot has.
Yes, exactly. And this whole social media craze that we've all been talking about with Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, I don't know how you feel about this, Morgan, but I kind of put like a YouTube subscriber still really in like the attract stage, right? I mean, they're not really a lead at that point yet. How would you say?
Yeah, I agree with you. When we talk about a conversion, you can, describe a conversion in many ways, but I view it as somebody who's raised their hand and said, I want you to communicate with me more.
Mm-hmm.
A YouTube subscriber, very similar to subscribing to a blog, if you're talking about text-based content, where they're kind of half raising their hand, right? I want to read more, but I don't want, say, a salesperson to reach out to me. I don't want to give you my email address yet, because we hold on to that stuff. We know I'm going to get a bunch of emails if I give that away, so you got to build that trust up, and YouTube's a great way to do that.
Yeah, so we're in the attract phase when we're doing maybe like a Facebook Live session or a YouTube Live session. And then when we're trying to get them into the convert stage, I added a note here called an engaged viewer. And Tess is actually showing comments from real people who are watching right now who are engaging with our content. And that's really the next step where we're almost getting to the convert stage where we've got someone who's active in the chat room. They're engaged on Facebook and maybe even asking questions during the live show. We haven't gotten an actual email yet, but we are engaging with these people. They're asking questions during the live show, and they're very close to the conversion stage where we're going to offer something even more valuable than just Q&A time during the live show. But we've got a call to action, Michael, if you want to throw that up, our CTA button. But we do have a call to action, which is streamgeeks.us/marketing, where you can get this whole presentation to download. Of course,
That's an example of a space where they would provide us their email to then be brought into our database and hear some more from us.
So once we get them into our database, HubSpot helps us before and after, but once we get them into our database, this is where HubSpot really starts to come into play, where it has a whole CRM, which we can talk a little bit about. Now we can email these contacts, remind them to come to our live show. And one thing that Morgan told me long ago when I first started, and it's become one of the most important things, is asking for the persona. What type of person is this person? Are they education? Are they government? Are they nonprofit? So that when we do send our emails, we can tailor them to that individual person.
That's one of my favorite features in HubSpot, and it's been so valuable to us to be able to have those organized fields of interest where people don't want to, receive all the information that you could possibly give. A sports broadcaster doesn't want to hear too much about House of Worship broadcasting. So it's been really helpful because we're able to keep our customers happier by only giving them things that they might be interested in. And I think that's easier on our end because it saves us some time and wasting leads. And it's also helpful for the end user.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, and a helpful exercise, again, regardless of any kind of business, you should do this today. Sit down, write down 3 different types of customers you serve, or even limit it to 2. Keep this very simple up front and just answer a few questions. What problems am I solving, and how are these 2 personas different from each other? If you take that step before you start creating video, writing content, and thinking about what emails you're going to send, and just create that content with that person in mind, actually think of a person, maybe a customer you have, it just drives you to create something that's actually useful and not just one size fits all.
Mm-hmm. That was kind of fun when we were setting up our personas. We have small business Bobby, audiovisual Al. We gave him a name, their job, their family life, an age, how many kids they have, where they live, what their hobbies are. That's fun.
Yeah, it was such a great process, especially, again, for someone, I just got out of college 8 years ago. Okay, it's been a while, but they didn't teach us any of this, and HubSpot really does a great job of walking you through some of these foundational thought processes of understanding the customer and how we're going to market to them. So if you didn't go to school for marketing, the HubSpot blog, subscribing to their YouTube channel, their SlideShare,
the Academy, starts
to really all fall into place of, like, I would call it a kind of like a paradigm shift in the way that people are marketing today. So let's get back to our presentation. We've got a couple more slides. So we've talked about changing from, we kind of took Morgan's idea and then started on the next slide. We brought it into the live streaming focused world. And the reason why we're doing that, live streaming gets 3 to 8 times as much view time as regular on-demand videos. In fact, the next slide, I think, starts to help us think about video marketing, which is, I would say, I mean, it's pretty hot right now. Wouldn't you say, Morgan, in the marketing world?
Yeah, people don't like to read as much as they once did, so video is a great replacement for that.
It's true. They don't. I mean, we're all kind of guilty of it. It's easier to watch a 3-minute video,
yeah.
And then we're almost starting to get trained. Instead of reading a manual for a product, you can just
watch the video
for the how-to of that certain portion of what you're looking for. But this is also came from HubSpot. It's almost the exact same thought process, but now we're looking at it in a funnel thought process where
that ever so popular sales funnel. HubSpot's version of that.
Clicked out of the presentation.
Quick view of the chat there. No harm in that.
And Jess is always bringing in live chats there that are from the audience. But I love this thought process, and it really changed the way I was thinking about creating content, is what the content that we're creating, where does it fit in the funnel?
Yeah.
And I am guilty of just
trying on that organizationally.
Attract as many subscribers on YouTube as I can, or have something go viral. But then when you start to become a real business, and we've been working with HubSpot for 5 years, we have over 50,000 contacts in HubSpot. That's way more subscribers than we have on YouTube. Let's think about how can we close these people? How about winning back their attention, the people who are in our database? And then it starts to become a new conversation of, all right, yeah, we want to create content to attract new customers and new leads, but maybe we want to convert some of those customers that are, or maybe not customers yet, maybe prospects that are on the way to becoming a customer. Maybe we need to close a bunch of people who are on the fence, or maybe we just need to be delightful and have those people share our content. All these little pieces. What types of content are we creating in which part of the funnel that is most important? This blew my mind. And Morgan, I don't know if you know the blogger who came up with this, but this blew my mind.
Yeah, and this is that natural next step. So we've defined our personas. Now we want to think about what we call here at HubSpot life cycle stages. All that means translated is where they're at in the buying process. And very similar to what we talked about with the personas, you want to create content that lines up with where I'm at. So if you're evaluating HubSpot, you're looking at software, before you even know who we are, you're looking at ways to get more leads to your website. So we're going to create good content that's just showing you, very much like this today, how do you do something more informational, aspirational, things like that. Once you're on my website, now I want to give you something that's a little more involved. We have good examples here. Downloadables, webinars, courses you can take, things like that that are going to get you a little bit more engaged. And now at this point, if I'm doing that, I'm probably evaluating HubSpot software. At that point, we want to give you case studies, comparisons versus our competitors, things like that. And it doesn't stop here. This is something we add later on in the delight phase with HubSpot. Once you're a customer, we actually want you to use our software, right? We want you to engage with us. We have all of this content. HubSpot Academy is a really good example that you mentioned. And actually, there's some tools on HubSpot. As you go through this process, you can just create what we call smart content. So if I know Paul's a customer and he's on HubSpot.com, he'll actually see an invite to attend a customer class on video blogging versus, a standard webinar for people who are in that awareness stage.
I'm glad you mentioned that. We have used that, and it's been great. We could probably use it more. It takes a lot of thought. But yeah, when you can actually create smart CTAs, call to actions, and pieces of content that display differently depending on the buyer persona or if you know they're a customer.
Yeah, that's really cool stuff.
Wow. So the next slide, so we looked at video marketing, and then again, just thinking about it from a live perspective, and I wanted to make the case that you can probably use live video in every stage of the buyer journey. So if you are delivering a case study, maybe you should deliver a live case study. And think about how much more engaging that would be, allowing the prospects to actually ask questions while you're interviewing the case study.
Yeah. Yep. And you can also do live Q&As for people that are current customers, possibly to address concerns in that delight stage. Yeah. You could just do those how-tos or informational quick bits to attract them, just going off things off the top of my head.
Can I just say, I noticed you guys included QVC style. I've noticed that you guys would make a great QVC couple show. I realized that's what I was thinking this entire time. So
no, I'm glad you mentioned that, because last week our last show was how small businesses can sell their products using live streaming, and we walked down to the local boutique and we created literally a QVC style layout with the sidebar, what the product is, what the price is. And I think there's a lot of small businesses, not only that can use HubSpot, but can use live streaming as a platform to sell the products that are in their stores.
Nice. I'm going to have to check that one out.
That was a fun one.
Yeah, it was.
But all right, so let's keep going along. And this is just a quick one. You guys already probably know this, everyone in the live show. But the big difference between regular video and live video is when it's live, of course, it's always available on demand, just like regular video. So if you're a content creator, you're creating content for different pieces of the funnel, you got to remember that if you're creating it live, it's just like another video. It will be available on YouTube. In fact, 2 weeks ago, we did a video, a whole course on how using live streaming actually boosts your video organic SEO, because it gets all that live viewer time and viewership. But regardless, you get the live viewer engagement, and you get really, I would say, a pretty big boost on social media engagement.
Yeah, absolutely. There's two key differences, is that live engagement and the social media exposure. Because we know that live video is being promoted in YouTube and Facebook and other such platforms' algorithm, that it's just more likely to organically be seen, like you mentioned before.
So Tessa's got this in front of her. This
My
is
turn.
our live video process. And Tess, why don't you walk us through this?
Inspired by HubSpot, certainly, because we feel like their methodology aligns with exactly what we're trying to do. And let's be honest, it freaking works. It's working beautifully for us. So everything that we do, and this is for you live streamers out there looking for a nice outline of how you might consider, how did they really figure out what their shows are about and go through that whole process? It always starts with research. A lot of the research is easy because you guys give us such great ideas, and that's part of having a committed live audience that's engaging with you weekly on your live show. So we find the topic and we research everything we can about it. For example, today's live show, we thought, okay, they want to learn about HubSpot. They want to learn about email marketing. We need to find a contact. Luckily, Paul knows everybody in the world because he's famous and he has a contact at HubSpot. So we got lucky there. Sometimes it can be not so easy. And then there always needs to be a call to action, something that we're asking you guys to do, something that we want you to participate in. Today, it's a download of the presentation that we're using, but we want to make sure that it's actually really relevant for you guys and useful for you. We don't want to just be giving you junk. So we want to make sure that there's a helpful tool that you guys will be prompted to take in after leaving the show instead of just going off into the world. We're trying to keep you. We're giving away all of our secrets now. This is like scary.
This is what we do. It is a little scary sometimes.
I'm getting hot. I'm like, should I be even saying this?
Just created his HubSpot account, so congratulations on that.
Yay, that's Jimmy. Oh, no. No, that's Jimmy. That's who just won the giveaway last week.
Cool.
Awesome. Of course, we schedule our live event because that allows us to incorporate the link into our emails and other marketing tactics. And it just is there available, reminding people that they can set a reminder or that we will be live and what the show is going to be about. And we link a giveaway to that. Obviously, giveaways are a great way to attract people to your live shows, but a lot of them find the content interesting and stick around. So it's been extremely helpful for us. Okay, so this is where email comes in. Email is probably the #1 way that we get viewers to our live show. We, gather emails from a number of different ways. Giveaways are one of them, and the user group has been a really valuable way for us to acquire people's emails in a way that we made sure that they want to give it to us, they want to receive information about us, and we know what type of interest their area is in live streaming. So we schedule the email during the pre-show. So you're able to just go straight into the email, click the call to action. If you've seen it before, you can watch on Facebook or YouTube, and it'll take you directly, easily, and simply to the live show. Of course, we test our equipment. That's the next step.
Do you want to show your email real quick?
Sure. Do you want to do that now?
Yeah.
Okay. I have to unplug.
So this is our secret green screen magic.
Now I'm not going to be able to hear Morgan if he has any comments.
I'll let you know what Morgan's saying.
I won't say anything inappropriate.
So Morgan, this is that green screen magic I was telling you about that we were planning today. So Tess is going to show our email database really quickly.
Here, you can switch over to it.
And she got an 8.7% open rate. That's pretty good, right?
Not bad at all.
And so I stand right over here.
1.86% click rate, but trust me, honey, that's going to grow.
Oh, because there's still time.
Yes.
Okay. So Michael's going to go ahead and...
One of the fun things about HubSpot...
Woo!
Oh, here I am.
Oh, there we
One
go.
of the fun... Okay, I'm sort of like taking on this token role of like emailer over here, so I have a lot of fun with my emails, and it's become a little bit of a game with me. I'm always trying to beat everybody else's click rates. And I get like really excited if I have like a 3% click rate, which doesn't sound like a lot. But with email marketing, because we all know things get sent to spam folders, a lot of times we're just deleting a lot of salesy emails we get. So 3% is great when it comes to email marketing. And yes, so what are we looking at here?
So it looks like
here's the inside of today's show email.
500 emails. Right?
Yes.
And 300 open.
I can't really read it from here, so you are going to have to read those.
And a 2% click, so 65 clicks. And I wanted to show Tessa's email here. It's really straightforward, and it's not too long. And I wanted to ask you about that, Morgan. It's only like 2 sentences, 3 sentences long. And then we give a YouTube and a Facebook option for viewing. Not a whole lot of pictures. In your experience, is that...
You're going to have to verbalize for me.
You got to know your audience. This goes into what we talked about earlier. All the folks you sent this to are likely in that kind of awareness stage. They're not buying stuff from us yet. We don't have like this giant comparative email. So for this, it's quick and to the point. We don't need to throw in a lot of images that are going to slow it down. The other thing is mobile. A lot of us are, just looking at stuff on our phones. The more text, the more images you have, the longer it'll take to load. So I think this is a beautifully crafted email.
Yeah, and to touch on my show emails a little bit, they're actually very different, the show emails, from a typical marketing email that you might receive from me. People who have opted into live show emails are usually committed, devoted members of our live show community, and I'm sending them other information on the regular. So for the live show emails that they're receiving 3 times a week, I like to keep it short and sweet, basically letting them know the topic of today's show and where they can find us. Also, I always want to offer them a link to the giveaway, and I often use a PS to offer them another action, whether it's to join our user group or identify their personas if they haven't already. We use the Facebook call to action and the YouTube call to action to compare who's watching on Facebook more or YouTube more. It's been a very valuable way to find where our audience is beyond just the live views. So yeah, the other emails that you might receive from me are going to be longer, but I always like to use different paragraphs, bold things out. I'm trying to think of other things that I always try and do. The subject, I always try and make it very human-like and not what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, not too automated. We love that HubSpot has the personalization tokens. So I can always address you by your first name in the email, and we use that to our advantage. A lot of times with personas, I always use a persona token because I can say, hey, so-and-so, I know that you're interested in sports live streaming. Would you be able to help me out by, giving us this piece of information? Or I thought that this blog would be perfect for you, and so on and so forth.
It really changes the game and gives us a competitive edge because, I don't know. I mean, I guess, Morgan, you have millions of customers that are also doing this, but it really just, I feel like it changes the game a little bit.
Yeah, it does. And Tess is what we look for in an email marketer. She's willing to try new things and test some stuff out and actually thinks about who's on the other end of the email. That's the big thing.
He's just being nice.
No, it's true. And Tess, one thing you can try, like we talked about earlier with smart content, that persona-based stuff, we can actually make pieces of that email dynamic. So if we have 3 personas, we can send one email that's kind of pumping the same idea or offer, and then just have it slightly different for that government employee versus a teacher versus a small business owner.
I do that. I've done that with certain products because we've picked one product and formulated emails to each persona based on what we think they could use that product for. So if there was like a smart function to do that, that would save me hours.
I've never actually used it.
There is. So rather than sending 3 separate emails, you can hover over that email. I don't know if we want to shrink you back down. That might be a painful process to go back to that view.
Do you want to see it real quick?
Yeah.
But you can just click that smart content button and you'll be able to edit that. So if that's an automated email and you can edit it, I can walk you guys through it, or we can just take it offline.
Well, let's do it offline because that one has already been sent, that email. But
email, hover over any area, you'll see a little smart content button, and you'll be able to choose the persona and then change that block of text or that image, whatever it is, to be different. So based on the persona that I'm slotted into on HubSpot, I'll see that variation of
What?
Jeez, that is, I was taught that.
That's going to be helpful.
Forgot it
because when we're doing product releases and whatnot, and we have 10 different personas, I'm like, okay.
Your click rate just went up to 2%. It is going up.
This is the biggest problem with HubSpot. There's just too much cool stuff. And,
I know.
I mean, we had, and let's go to the next slide.
You should have pulled one of my older emails up, not one that just went out 15 minutes ago. It just went out
15 minutes ago. All your other ones are much better.
That open rate, that's going to be nowhere near where it's going to be eventually. So.
Because, that was like,
right. It's going up as we're talking. So let's go to the next slide. So, because speaking of HubSpot having a ton of tools, these are the ones that we use specifically for live streaming. We talked about email, we talked about personas, which is our game changers, but also the landing pages and forms. I remember when we were first looking at HubSpot and I was using like WordPress landing pages, which I can't even believe. And I know a lot of people out there might be using some type of their own landing page thing. And once you get the landing pages built into a complete suite of tools, it's so nice because then you can see which landing pages are performing better than others, which ones are actually turning into customers as opposed to maybe just generating a lot of leads. So that's been great.
You can get so creative with some of the HubSpot features. Like you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, and not to just keep pushing the same idea, but Tess, you can do that same smart content thing on landing pages. So even on a live website, based on the persona, you can actually have a slightly different image or message kind of show up on those pages. It's a pretty cool feature.
I didn't know about that before, so I'm glad we had this meeting, a live meeting.
Lead flows we showed very briefly. If we can roll the B-roll one more time. Lead flows is something that I was a little torn about. See it right there? That's the enter to win at the top of our page. And we basically, it's a pop-up ad essentially. And a lot of our engineers were like, no, don't do pop-up ads, don't do pop-up ads. So what we ended up doing was just having the pop-up ad the day of the giveaway.
Not to scare Google too much.
Because we're worried about Google cracking down on pop-up ads. And I think there's some best practices, Morgan, you might know about to help with that. But we have generated thousands of leads with these pop-ups that it was like, kind of like, all right, well, let's not leave it on forever, because when Google's crawling, we don't want them to be like, oh, there's a pop-up ad, let's penalize them. But we're just generating so many leads with these. I didn't want to ignore it either.
Yeah, we've done some testing with it, and now, like you said, you don't want to always be shoving an offer down your throat. Then you kind of look like an ad, like you're just hawking stuff. It's actually a great delivery method for content. So if you have your top 5 most viewed live streams ever, and you want to bundle those together, and on a blog article about live streaming, have that pop-up come up. That's a good way to do it and not be annoying. But also, we actually studied this. We did some testing because we thought the same thing. We didn't want to build that tool. There is no drop off. If people don't want it, they click away from it or they ignore it. It's really not going to hurt your ability to engage people.
Especially small ones like that, when it was just a bar, it wasn't a giant pop-up that, obstructed the entire page.
Yeah. No, I mean, the results are
set it to
incredible.
Trigger when people are scrolling halfway down the page, right? That means they've already had a chance to engage with it. So there's some settings you can use to make sure you're not annoying people.
Just to dig a little deeper into what it does is that there's a HubSpot tracking token that you should probably already have on your website, and then you can literally just have the pop-up ad. You can use a wildcard, so you can say, show this on every single page of my site, or just some pages on my site, and that makes it so easy because from one place, HubSpot, where we're doing all of our social media management already, I can turn on the pop-up the day of the show, and then the show's over, and turn it off, all from HubSpot, not needing to, install some WordPress plugin or some other way of doing it. It's all just centrally managed.
And HubSpot's growing. It must be growing so fast because every little tool we get, like Gleam, for example, I just go and I try and find integration with HubSpot. And they're getting integration with HubSpot. I think they have it already. Facebook's integrating with HubSpot.
Facebook is?
So, yeah, well, with ads.
Yeah.
But, and that is so helpful because then it can eliminate some of that extra work I have to do for getting people's personas and whatnot. So you guys must be doing well.
We have a whole team dedicated to that. It's one of the biggest requests, right? I'm doing my business in Gleam or something like that. Does HubSpot integrate with it? So now that we are getting bigger, people want to integrate with us. But if not, there's usually some kind of option. Zapier is a good company that their entire business is creating connections between software. And HubSpot leverages that as well.
Yeah, we use it in a couple different ways. I don't know how much time we'll have to go
email are you
over
showing on this?
everything, but this is an email. This is the email we looked at with Tess. It's just a random email.
That's another show email.
Just a show email, just showing how she does it, letting people go to YouTube or Facebook, because we are trying to grow both simultaneously. Our viewers know that, or most of our viewers. We stream to YouTube and Facebook at the same time. We boost them both on their own platforms and have what's called native video on those platforms. So
with the workflows and everything HubSpot has, I feel like it just helps us build relationships just like the user group does. It reminds me of that same feature.
Well, Tess is kind of like a ninja she's like a HubSpot ninja in the way that we really are trying to go from a stranger to somebody who actually we feel like we know.
Right. That's why I like to say, hope to see you in the chat. I like to use emojis and all that fun stuff because I feel like people like that. Or they think I'm crazy because every once in a while someone will email me back and be like, never speak to me again.
And I'm like, from this email list.
Tess, did you know you can now use emojis in your subject lines in HubSpot emails?
Yes, we have done that. I've done the dancing girl. I'm trying to think what else. Always with the unicorn.
No one would notice, and it was like our most commented feature ever in the forum. People
really? Well, I would go to Unicode before and copy and paste my emojis in.
That's good. So, and then the next slide, I think we're just rolling through the just some examples. There's the lead flow and the landing pages. That's how we get a lot of our leads. Love the landing page analytics. We do, and the cool thing about the landing page analytics, so I love this tool because it goes views, actual form submissions, new contacts, which is another important one, and then customers. So we can see not only which ones is getting us the most customers, but which one's getting us the most new contacts. And then it's all showing up on our dashboard, so we can kind of keep an eye on which landing pages are performing the best this month. And then that gives us a great idea of what our customers are responding to and what they really want to know, and download of our offers that we're offering. The live giveaway has been huge for us. I won't give away all the numbers, but a lot of contacts come through here. We're going to do a giveaway in just a few moments. But Gleam does integrate with HubSpot, and we use it quite regularly. And we also use a Facebook user group, which is just a little side tip. That doesn't have any specific HubSpot integration, but it's been one of our best tools.
I would love for it to integrate with the user
insane.
groups. And this is like something crazy, because everybody, you have to answer questions when you come to the user group. I ask them if they want to give us their email, and I ask them what industry they're in. So if they could answer those questions and it would automatically go into HubSpot, that would also save me hours.
Yeah, because that is a painful process. But
that's kind of a weird thing.
We'll see about that one. Topic clusters, wanted to briefly mention this as well. Another really just forward-thinking strategy from HubSpot. When we're creating content, we're thinking about where it is in the cycle or the stage of the buyer's journey. But there's also a new thought process of topic clusters. I don't know if you want to explain that, Morgan. I'm a little new to it, but it really seems ingenious to me.
Yeah, the idea is search has fundamentally changed. 10 years ago, you were trained to type in a keyword and Google would give you all of the articles and contain that keyword in the headline. It made SEO really easy, but it's just not that way anymore. Google is judging your intent. The example I use is we kind of talk to Google the same way we would talk to Siri, right? We start asking questions, and Google's actually trying to guess what you're looking for. So the way that's changed is we don't just have to write a million different blog articles, or in this case, create a million different videos for every nuanced keyword we want. Google knows if you're asking about live streaming, it can actually guess that you want to know about live streaming for Facebook Live. It will actually prioritize that stuff. So this idea of a cluster is allowing you to organize your content to line up with the way that Google thinks about those things, and then create this really good pillar content. So you can create one page on your website that can get found for like the 1,000 different variations of keywords rather than creating 1,000 pages. So basically focus on quality rather than quantity and do it in a very strategic way.
That was a good description.
This blew my mind, and unfortunately I had to go back to every single blog post I ever did and reorganize them all.
This helps you do it though. We had to do that at HubSpot. So we were doing it the old way for years. We built this tool because we actually went back, and in HubSpot we have something like 100,000 blog articles we've written.
Jeez.
We organize that with pillar content. So for example, in the middle is your most broad keyword, social media marketing. And then you actually tell Google by linking all of the blog articles related to that back to that one page. And HubSpot, one of the more traffic marketing blogs on the entire internet, saw about a 25% increase in traffic over 3 months.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah, we're probably having this similar process. So I went out and I had no pillars. I had absolutely no pillar content. So I had to go out and rewrite some pillar content. And then I have a Google Sheet or Google Doc where I'm just, every time I write a piece of content, I'm like, okay, that goes in this pillar. Okay, that goes in that pillar, and then make sure everything links back. So it's kind of nice at the end of a blog post. By the way, here's 8 other pieces of content that link back that are all kind of in the similar
intertwined.
Just a great way of thinking. I mean, I just had no idea, and then I read it just ends up in HubSpot. I'm like, what is this? And I'm sure I haven't checked, but I'm sure we're benefiting from that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So they wouldn't be emails in the cluster. It would be blogs or videos or web pages.
Searchable content, so stuff that's on your website that Google could actually see.
So completely different than a workflow.
Yes. Yeah, but it's great that HubSpot manages that for you, because it actually does track new contacts from the pillar content. Like there's some analytics built into there. I haven't looked at all of it yet, but you can actually analyze the value of the pillar. I thought was pretty interesting. So success with live video, just to break it down, obviously good content, and we've talked about some ways to choose good content, where that fits in your area, obviously making it engaging with your audience, and then making sure, and honestly, you might be wasting your time if you're not considering inbound marketing throughout that entire strategy. If you are, I think you're going to be really successful. We've found that by tying in the whole inbound mythology to the live streaming, craze right now, but also I think it's here to stay.
Yeah.
By adding that as your core of getting people into your workflow, I think you're really going to have a lot of success. So this is where the magic happens.
Venn diagram.
This is the Venn diagram, but I think this is really true, and I think live streaming is one of the really most authentic places and ways to bridge your company with your community. This is the time when they're both together, and right now we're getting live comments from our community. We're getting great contents. Art Geek Designs asking about pillar content. And this is a chance where we really come together, and I think it's where the magic really happens.
Yeah, HubSpot has really figured this out, that people don't want to be sold to anymore. They want to be spoken to. They want to be communicated with, back and forth, engaged with. They want to see a person, not just a salesperson. And inbound marketing is really helpful with that.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because one of the things I wanted to kind of finish up with and not forget to mention is the fact that how well HubSpot has bridged the gap between all of this new inbound marketing and sales. And I think the next slide, maybe a couple more, we can skip this one. Okay, here it is. And maybe you could take this one, Morgan. But it's just ingenious, because all of this marketing stuff's happening right now. We've covered the bulk of it. But Morgan, if you could bring this home for the salespeople and the marketers that work with salespeople, how we can all work together and make it a seamless process for the customer.
Yeah, my old VP of sales is actually quoted in a Harvard Business Review case study on HubSpot.
Wow.
Created a term called smarketing. So it's like the corniest thing in the world. But it's really the idea that sales and marketing teams should be interlinked and you should be working together. It's really not just the software that makes that happen. It's like you get in the same room, you communicate a little bit. On the one hand, you need to give feedback. If you're a salesperson, you're getting a bunch of leads from marketing. Let them know these ones became customers, these ones were not so good, they didn't really line up with our target demographic and things like that. And on the flip side of that, marketing can actually get really good ideas about what to write your content about from sales. One really good practice I've seen is marketing team sits down with your top sales guy once a month and tries to get the top 10 questions you get from your customers every single day. Each one of those questions could be a blog article or a big FAQ page, because I guarantee you, if somebody is asking your salesperson those questions, somebody else just like them is typing that into Google. So it could really help drive that targeted content approach home.
Yeah. I love it. That's some good tips.
HubSpot, I guess it's been about 2 years now, brought out a free CRM. So I think that's called Customer Relationship Management tool. Yeah. But basically, it's completely free. So it's built in, and it gives all these sales tools for tracking deals. And it's so important for marketing teams to be able to understand from sales to see what's working. And one of the things, so we spend a good amount of money on marketing, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook or a different thing, and to give the sales team the tools to actually have dollar amounts attached to the deals from the incoming leads allows marketing to say, wow, we spent $100,000 on this campaign, and sales is saying that we've got $5 million in the pipeline. And we have to remember that some of these sales cycles can take months or years. Yeah. So we need to try to judge, is it working, is it not? It gives so much more smarts to the marketing team about what's going on.
Yeah, and we spoke all about the marketing side of HubSpot, but there's a whole separate sales platform that HubSpot
I guess we probably won't have time to
I don't know much about that.
We don't even go into it, so we probably shouldn't even talk about it.
Yeah, we should be looking at it more.
Another live stream session to go through it.
Yeah, maybe we will. Maybe we'll have to, we'll let this digest with our audience. But there's a whole nother sales side that would take a whole nother webinar for this. But it is there, and we definitely want to be able to mention it. So I think that's pretty much grabbing everything, except for the fact I wanted to mention that once you get a live show going, it's a lot of work. We've got 25 episodes on different varieties of things that you should be thinking about, a whole podcast on it. But once your live show is up and running, the ability to crowdsource what people are interested in, the questions that they have. Yes, you should be talking to your sales team and getting the top 10 questions that they're getting, but we can have a whole YouTube chat and Facebook chat to go back to and say, what were the things that people were asking during this presentation, during that presentation? And it really gives us our ideas for our next piece of content.
Absolutely.
So we can pretty much wrap it up there, Morgan. Thank you so much for coming in. We really love your perspective.
I got some tips, too, to take home from this.
We learned a lot, and I'm sure the audience did as well.
Of course, always a pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate it. We have a couple more slides that we could breeze through, but basically we have a live giveaway we have to run through now. So I don't want to take up too much of your time, Morgan. I would love to have you on again sometime, though.
Anytime you want, Paul. Hit me up.
Thanks, Morgan.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
So that was Morgan Jacobson from HubSpot.
Lucky us to get to speak to a HubSpot manager.
Yeah, I told you he was smart.
He's really smart. I would like to go visit him, take a page out of his book.
I think we're gonna plan a trip up there, and then maybe we could do like a vlog about it. So much great marketing information there. If I can finally take my earbud out.
I know. Mine's bothering me too.
I'm going to get the... we don't normally have guests. Is that our first guest?
First StreamGeeks guest.
First StreamGeeks guest. So we're going to do our giveaway now. So we're going to bring that up.
And bring that over here, partner.
And we're going to pull a winner. Thank you for bearing with us, everybody. And I guess we should go ahead and roll the credits. Which, that's the one thing we didn't give you a key for. An X key button for. It's the credits. But I'm going to go pull up Gleam, we'll roll the credits, and we'll jump on in. I guess that's kind of... The B-roll really made it cool.
Yeah, that B-roll's awesome.
Yeah, he You seem nervous. You never get nervous. I was like... All right, Samuel Lauren, we pulled your name. New thing we're doing is that if you're out there, if you're watching and you're waiting for the giveaway, just give us your name, tell us where you're from. We just want to just go ahead and put that in the chat so we can kind of get this process going pretty quickly. But we know there's some lag, so we're going to give you a full 60 seconds, but we want to know who's out there. So Samuel Lauren is our first poll. Tell us you're in the chat. If you're waiting and hoping to win a free live streaming camera or something else on this wonderful wheel, just let us know you're in the chat. What a fun show.
That was a fun show.
Even
though Morgan made me nervous, it was still fun.
Nervous, but he was here, and his audio was good. Pulled together a little last-minute thing.
I felt like I still got my words out, though, right?
Or was I total? The only thing you didn't do is you didn't highlight. I thought you were going to highlight like that.
Darn it.
Because you almost might as well have been a slide because you didn't draw anything on it. But
it's true. I was pointing.
Shout out for me to Chad LaForge. He helped with
the audio
with my EQ levels for the guests.
Shout out for Chad LaForge. Michael was actually working with you on the EQ. Did you actually got that better, huh?
Yeah, I think I got it a little bit better.
Nice.
Yeah, so.
Thank you, Chad. You're the man.
Thanks.
That's awesome. Wow.
Should we talk about our intern?
Yep, we got a new intern here. You can't hide,
That's
Brian.
you, Brian.
We have a new intern that's going to be helping. And funny that he's starting today, right when he's going to be working on HubSpot.
Yeah. It was a perfect intro if he didn't fall asleep. So that was a success.
So I'm going to pick another winner because Samuel doesn't seem to be here. If he is...
No Samuel.
We didn't know. We didn't get him. Samuel from Canada. Kyle Gunderman.
Kyle. And Kyle's here.
Kyle's here.
Mm-hmm. He just said, I'm here.
Great. Kyle's here.
Yay.
All right. We're going to pull a winner. All right. So, Kyle, you have won. We're going to go ahead and let Tess spin today.
All right.
We should maybe allow.
Brian, do you want to spin?
Do you want to spin?
Come up.
Right.
Just give a little wave.
No,
wait. See? You can see on the monitor where you are. Come on. And wait. Ah, there he is.
All right. Brian's going to spin today. Spin it hard. You have to really spin it.
Hard spin.
Hold it. Okay. All right. That's it. If he gets on the free cam, we're going to have him spin every time.
He would spin on the free camera though.
Ooh, 4K frame grabber. That's awesome. Yay! Oh, do you have the music on too? Oh, you're good.
Do we still
All
have
right.
repeaters?
So yeah, we have.
Should we give him a choice? He'd
Yeah,
probably
you can
want the
have a choice,
capture
but
card.
The capture card. This is the
Capture
cool
card
capture
or
card.
4K
This is
repeater,
gonna
both
be
by
great.
Magewell.
This is going to be great for his school. Kyle, this is a great product for you. This is a InnoGenie 4K upgradable HDMI to USB capture card. So we had a giveaway for this that somebody wanted to spin instead of getting. So you now win this. Congratulations, Kyle.
Mike, you made Chad blush.
Thank you so much for joining, everybody.
With your thanks.
Chad, thank you for helping out Michael there because you saved the day. Good job,
He's
Michael.
happy.
Did you make it sound a lot better too?
Yeah, it did, yeah.
Brisk
Oh,
morning
yeah.
moon.
What'd you do?
It was the EQ levels,
Yeah.
and so he was so like echoey.
Yeah.
And I raised Chad. Chad told me to raise the 1K,
compression. Oh.
the 8K. Or
He wants the
148K,
capture card.
and it went away.
Wow. You show me that.
Yeah, well.
Make sure, you know,
All right.
if there's any
Congratulations, Kyle.
loose ends you guys want tied up.
Yep.
If
Any
not,
last questions, let us know. I think this was really helpful for any business out there interested.
we didn't
in
talk about the
marketing.
social media stuff with HubSpot, which
Yeah,
was
we
really
did.
helpful
We
too.
skipped a few slides, but we were getting to.
That's
I
okay.
didn't want to take so much.
I know, and we have
time.
a 3 o'clock.
And we've got a 3 o'clock. So we've got to roll, but if there's any last questions, we're here to help. This is absolutely one of the most important things that I think you should be thinking about from any
For your
business
business.
perspective.
Yeah.
And I'm not anybody. It could even be a school. It could even be a freelancer. It could be like almost anybody. What is
beauty
your
blogger.
goal? A blogger. I mean, anybody. This is really next level generation thinking for marketing. Thanks, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you next Monday.
Thanks, guys.
Good job. Oh, yeah.